what is up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ivy, and today I'm going to be doing my July wrap-up. So I'm really excited because I'm home alone right now, and that means I get to be loud and crazy. I'm sure you're very excited for this as well. Let's start with movies. I watched a good bit this month, so let's talk about them. First up, I watched Alexander Hamilton. It smashed every expectation. I've been listening to Hamilton since Christmas when I got like the soundtrack on CDs, because before then I was too scared to do it because I knew I would be obsessed and like never listen to anything else, and lo and behold, that is what happened. So my Hamilton obsession began, and I still hadn't seen it, and then they announced, like, oh my god, it's gonna be on Disney Plus, and I was so excited. It's so good. Like, I feel like I don't even need to explain it, because I feel like you've probably seen it. It's so inspiring, and like, heck yeah. I don't know, it's incredible. The music is just out of this world. Lin-Manuel Miranda, he's a genius. There's so much passion in that show, and it makes you want to like dance and scream and like, America! It was very emotional very early on, so yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Yes, I cried, and it was a fun time, and I can't wait to watch it again. The next thing I watched was Born of Hope. So this is actually a fan film, a Lord of the Rings fan film, and it was fantabulous for what it was. Like, holy crap, this was fans, and they made this. I'm so glad that they did. It's free to watch on YouTube. It's about Aragorn's parents, and I loved it. I had the best time. Yes, it was kind of slow at points. I was like, okay, let's move along. But then there were moments when I was screaming with excitement, especially when the twins showed up. Like, holy guaca-frickin-moly, that made my day. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I don't think anyone expected that to be any less. And yeah, I cried a lot. Even though I knew how it was gonna end, I still cried. Next up, we have Sling Blade. So this movie is about a mentally disabled man who has just been released from, not prison, but like he was kind of in like a mental institution because he killed some people. He was just released, and he befriends this young boy, and he kind of gets involved in this kid's life and like his family and stuff. This is one of those movies where you kind of know where it's going, and like you really don't want that to happen, but like you're filled with dread the entire time, and then it happens, and it's like a punch to the gut. It was kind of hard to watch, but it was just really, really good, and I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's one of those movies that I feel like everyone should watch. It, you know, it packed a lot in to such like a short amount of time, but like it did it well. Like some movies try to put so much in and then it never works, but this one worked incredibly. What am I doing? That's about all I have to say. It was again really hard to watch, really emotional, but so worth it, so good. 5 out of 5 stars. I don't think I cried on this one. So next I watched Percy Jackson. My friend and I decided to rewatch this as a joke, because we were like, you know what, it's been a while, why not have a good laugh? And laugh we did. I mean, I did most of the laughing, but it was just me laughing at how god-awful it is, and all I'm gonna say is I'm so excited for the show on Disney+. Also, I discovered that Sean Bean is in it, which was exciting, but he, like, doesn't die, so that was confusing. 3 out of 5 stars. I did not cry. Next, okay, so my friend and I went on, like, a streak where we watched movies that all surrounded a theme. So the next 3 movies all have the same theme. The first one was called 12 Feet Deep. I don't even know how I discovered this, but it's about these 2 girls who get trapped underneath a fiberglass pool cover overnight. It's so stupid, but it was so funny. Like, I was having the time of my life watching this awful movie. I will say I was very entertained. But 2 out of 5 stars, I did not cry. Next, going along with the theme, we have 47 Meters Down, Uncaged. This one was actually pleasantly surprising. It's basically these girls go down into water and then sharks, but like they're in this underground city thing. I don't know. I think it was better than the first 47 Meters Down, which I watched with the same friend. But it was like, it was good, I guess. There was nothing new or like special about it, but it was exciting. I wasn't particularly scared, but what can you do? 3 out of 5 stars, no cry. Okay, and the last like water movie we watched was Shark Night. This was probably my least favorite. It was, I don't even know how to describe it. They're at a lake, there's sharks in the lake because people put them there, and it was just like, there were so many things that I think were supposed to be plot twists, but it was like, okay, I don't know. It was fine. Some people got their heads bitten off by sharks, you know, jumping in the air. 2 out of 5 stars, no cry. So then, on a very different note, we watched The Hunger Games. It had been a long time since I'd watched it, and it hit me so hard this time. I just forgot how intense and, like, emotional it is, and also I feel like there were certain parts where it hit a little too close to reality for me. It was a lot, but like so good, and I love The Hunger Games. I love the entire series. I love the characters. It's so good. 5 out of 5 stars. I sobbed my eyes out. And the last thing that I watched this month was Split. Okay, so I've been wanting to watch this movie since it came out in like 2017, I think, but my mom was like, no, you are too young, even though it was PG-13, and I was so mad. But now that I've seen it, like, I know why. This is about this guy with 23 or 24 split personalities in his head, and he abducts these 3 girls, and it's crazy. It definitely lived up to my expectations. It was so good, so scary. Like, I don't know how the heck this movie is PG-13, but it was terrifying and disturbing in like the best way. The split personalities thing scares the bejesus out of me. It was freaky, bro. The acting was chef's kisses, like the main guy, the evil one with like the personalities. Wow. But yeah, it was definitely not something that I should have watched back when it came out. So points to my mom. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I did not cry. Okay, so let's move on to books. But let me get a drink first because I'm like screaming. This is gonna be a pain in the butt to edit. That's okay. First of all, I read Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. This is actually an Asian retelling of the Evil Queen story, and if that's not the coolest thing ever, I don't know what is. It's been a long time since I read a book where the main character was evil, and it was exciting. The main character's name is Shifeng, and she is so evil, and the characterization of her was done so well. Yeah, I hated her. I hated her so much, and somehow I was rooting for her. How does that even work? This was definitely much darker than I expected it to be. I enjoyed this book quite a bit, but I did have some trouble getting into it. The world felt kind of confusing to me, and like, I don't know what it was. I wasn't there. Found it to be kind of predictable, like the things that happened, and it also, there was such like a build-up, and then the end was like, oh, okay. I am excited to read the sequel though, because I think the sequel could be really, really good. So this was good and enjoyable, but not great. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, and it did not make me cry. The next thing I read was Clockwork Prince. I always do this, but like, it would be more over there, right? Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. So this is book 2 in the Infernal Devices trilogy. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I cried, and I have a whole video about it. So in case you want to see that, it'll be down there. Then I read Clockwork Princess, also 5 out of 5 stars. I cried so hard and I'm planning on making a video about that one as well, so I'm not going to say anything else. Okay, The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. We follow a girl named Molly, and she has had 26 crushes and nothing has ever come of any of them, and she just wants to find love. This was so fun and so cute and happy and so relatable. Like, honestly, a lot of stuff like that Molly would think could have come straight out of my brain. Becky Albertalli has this really awesome way of being a teenager. Like, I swear, her writing style is so easy to get into, and she's literally a teenager at heart. One of the things that I loved about this book is how we had so much representation of the LGBTQIAP+ community. I hope I did that right. But there was so much representation, but it was so casual, and like what I mean by that is it wasn't the main focus of the story. It was just there, and it was normal and just like part of life, and I love that so much. That being said, the only character that I really felt connections to was Molly, which I really liked Molly. But I wish I could have, liked the other characters more. I also wasn't super invested in the romance. I did love how one of the love interests was a Tolkienite and a nerd, because, oh my god. There were also certain phrases that were being used, like, over and over and over again, and that really bothered me. Also, I didn't find this one nearly as funny as Simon was, and I don't know why. It was still really fun. I still liked it a lot, and what did I give it? 3.5 out of 5 stars, and it did not make me cry. The next thing I read was The Three Sisters by Sonia Halbach. So this follows a main character named Maggie. She's 14, and she spends every Christmas at her grandfather's manor with, like, her entire family. This Christmas, however, she discovers this, like, world called Popple. I could not get into this or connect to it at all. I could not tell you why. I didn't care what was going on. I didn't care about any of the characters. I seriously, honestly think this book, the concept was so cool, and I think it has, like, potential for someone else to really enjoy it. I just personally didn't, and I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, and I did not cry. Next up, no, that's the wrong book. Dumplin by Julie Murphy. This follows a girl named Willow Dean Dixon, who is a self-proclaimed fat girl, and she lives in Texas. Willow Dean's mom is a beauty queen, and she's kind of the face of the annual beauty pageant that takes place in this town. This year, Willow Dean decides that she is going to enter the pageant. This book was so much fun. It was so uplifting. The atmosphere was fantastic. I really enjoyed all of the Dolly Parton references in it, even though I'm not really a Dolly Parton fan, like, at all. I don't know anything about her. There was just so many great positive messages in here as well, and I don't know, it made me smile very, very big. I enjoyed the book overall, but Willow Dean made me mad. It was one of those times when the main character was just being a complete and total booty hole to literally everyone around her. And the thing that bugs me about this one in particular is she acknowledges it. She's like, I know I'm being a jerk, and I should apologize. And then she doesn't apologize. Like, I know you're going through some stuff, but you don't get to treat everyone ever like garbage. She did grow by the end, and she, changed, which thank God, because if she hadn't, I would not be happy. I still liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, because it was good. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars, I did not cry. Next, I read Countess of Cachtice by Sonia Halbach. This is the sequel to that one. This one I actually enjoyed more than the first one, still didn't love it. We had 2 different storylines going on, one of which was, like, kind of a creepy, eerie thing set in, like, a castle with people being tortured and stuff, and I liked that storyline a lot. What does that say about me? I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and I did not cry. Next, we have 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I absolutely adored this book. I actually listened to the audiobook for it, which I highly recommend, because this book is actually told in an interesting format. So our main character, Clare, is listening to these tapes. As an audiobook, it was like you were listening to the tapes, and it was fantastic. A girl named Hannah Baker killed herself, and she made these tapes, and they're going around to 13 people who she says are a reason why she committed suicide. So Clay is listening to the tapes. It takes place over like one night, which that was also really cool. Just Clay, you know, going around town and listening and kind of processing, and it was telling Hannah's story, but we were seeing it through Clay's eyes, and I really liked how Clay was reacting to everything. It was so, I don't want to say cool, but it was just fascinating, and I loved it. I was on the edge of my seat. I had to know what Hannah was going to say next. I was so invested. It was so emotional and so sad, and it made me angry too. It really shows that every little thing can matter so much more than you think it will to someone else, and it's just like you never know. I don't even have words for how good this book is. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and it made me cry a lot. The last thing that I read was Enrique's Journey by Sonia Nazario. This is the young readers edition, or like adapted for young people or whatever. This is the true story of a boy named Enrique who is making the journey from his home in Honduras to the United States of America in the hopes of reuniting with his mother, who left him when he was 5 to go to the US, get a job, and send money back to him and his sister. This was so eye-opening and informative, and it's just an incredible story about this kid, but like also the broader picture. There's so many moms who leave their kids to come to the United States and send back money, and it raises the question of, is it worth it? Because yes, those kids aren't, you know, super poor anymore, but they also don't have their mom. I feel like just because I have the adapted for young people version, I didn't enjoy it as much. The writing style was kind of like condescending. I know I can't complain about it because it's the young readers edition, but I don't know. I also felt like it was a little all over the place. Like we were jumping around and I was kind of disoriented and like, what the heck is going on? The last like section was just statistic after statistic, and I get that it's important and I get what it was trying to say, but like it was so boring and I couldn't focus anymore, so I ended up just skimming through. Oh, the ending was super abrupt as well. I was like, wait, that's it? But overall, it's a really good read, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I did not cry. So, that is it for today's video. Look at how much I read! Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye. I would wave, but, you know, books.